The bridge of the UNS Goliath was quiet. Only the soft hum of machines filled the air. Admiral stood near the main window, his hands behind his back. He looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, an alien council was waiting for them. The Goliath was not like other ships. It was 12 kilometers long. Its body was covered with weapons, missile launchers, energy cannons, shield generators that could stop a small moon from crashing into them. Humanity had built this ship over 50 years. They had poured everything into it, every lesson from every war, every piece of technology they had ever created. "Admiral," a voice called from behind him. Turned, Commander Park Sara walked toward him. She was a tall woman with short black hair. Her eyes were sharp and focused. She held a data tablet in her hands. "The crew is ready," she said. "All systems are working perfectly. We will reach the coordinates in 6 hours." Nodded slowly, "And the message, have you read it again?" Sara's face became serious. "Yes. The Galactic Council invites humanity to discuss membership. They say they want to help us. They say young species need guidance." "Guidance," repeated the word like it tasted bad. "They think we are children." Sara stepped closer to the window. Outside, hyperspace looked like a river of blue and white light. It was beautiful, but she did not smile. "We detected their signals 80 years ago," she said. "We watched them. We listened to their communications. We learned their languages, and we saw what they did to other species." Remembered the reports. The Galactic Council was not a kind organization. They pretended to be peaceful. They talked about unity and cooperation. But behind the words there was something darker. Species that refused to join were isolated. Species that had resources were exploited. The strong controlled the weak. It was the same story that humanity knew too well from its own history. "They expected us to send a small ship," Sara continued. "Maybe a shuttle with diplomats, people in nice clothes ready to bow and ask for help. Instead, we send the Goliath," said. "Yes," Sara almost smiled. "I wonder what they will think when they see it." The door to the bridge opened. Lieutenant walked in. He was young, maybe 30 years old. His uniform was perfect without a single wrinkle. He carried more data tablets. "Admiral, Commander," he greeted them with a small bow. "I have the latest intelligence reports." "Speak," said. Moved to a large screen on the wall. He pressed some buttons and images appeared. Strange creatures, ships of many shapes, maps of star systems. "The Galactic Council has 412 member species," explained. "The most powerful are the Dominion. They are insect-like creatures, very aggressive. They control about 30% of Council space." The screen showed it had 6 legs, 2 arms, and a head covered with hard shell. Its eyes were black and empty. "They believe in strength," continued. "They conquered many species before the Council formed. Now they use politics instead of war, but they still have the largest fleet." "How large?" Sara asked. "About 8,000 warships. The biggest is 3 kilometers long." Did not react. The Goliath alone was 4 times bigger than their largest ship. "What about the others?" he asked. Showed more images. They were once a great civilization. They refused to pay tribute to the Council voted to quarantine them. Now they live on only 5 planets. Their population went from 20 billion to 3 billion in 200 years. Sara closed her eyes for a moment. "That is genocide, slow genocide." "The Council calls it maintaining order," said. His voice was flat, but his eyes showed anger. "There are many species like the weak ones suffer. The strong ones take what they want. The Council makes rules that only help those already in power." Turned back to the window, he thought about Earth. He thought about human history, empires rising and falling, nations fighting for freedom, people dying for the right to be free. Humanity had made many mistakes. They had wars that killed millions. They had destroyed parts of their own planet, but they had also learned. They had grown. They had united, not completely, not perfectly, but enough. Enough to build ships like the Goliath, enough to reach the stars. "We will not become like the," said quietly. "We will not bow to anyone." The door opened again. This time Captain Bay entered. She was the one who controlled the ship's weapons. Her job was to make sure the Goliath could fight if needed. "Admiral," she said, "the weapons check is complete. All systems are ready. If anyone attacks us, we can respond in less than 2 seconds." "Good," said, "but we are not here to start a war." Nodded, "Of course, but we are ready to finish one." Security Chief Han was the last to arrive. He was a large man with a scar on his face. He had fought in 3 different conflicts on Earth before joining the space program. He did not talk much, but when he spoke, people listened. "The security team is prepared," he said. "If we go to the station, I will bring 20 soldiers, all armed, all ready." "The council will not like that," Sora said. "The council will have to accept it," replied. "We do not go anywhere without protection." Looked at his team. These were the best people humanity had: soldiers, scientists, leaders. They had trained for years for this moment. They knew the risks. They knew that this meeting could change everything. "Listen to me," he said. "In 6 hours, we will meet alien life for the first time. These aliens have been in space for thousands of years. They have technology we do not fully understand. They have numbers we cannot match." He paused. The bridge was completely silent. "But we have something they do not expect. We have will. We have strength. We have the refusal to surrender. Humanity has survived ice ages. We survived plagues. We survived wars that nearly destroyed us. We did not survive all of that just to kneel before some council of aliens who think they own the galaxy." Sora felt pride growing in her chest. She had served under many commanders. None of them spoke like. "We go to this meeting as equals," continued. "Not as servants, not as students, as equals. If they respect that, we will work with them. If they do not." He let the words hang in the air. Finished the thought. "Then they will learn why humans should not be underestimated." Nodded, "Exactly. Now everyone to your stations. We have work to do." The officers moved, went to the navigation controls, went to the weapons station, left to prepare his team. Sora stayed with. "Do you think they will accept us as equals?" she asked. Watched the hyperspace lights. "No, not at first. They will try to control us. They will try to make us weak. That is what they do. And when they fail..." Finally smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. "When they fail, they will realize that humanity is not like any species they have met before. We do not break. We do not bend. We fight until we win or until there is nothing left of us." Sora stood beside him. She watched the stars too. "Then let them try," she said. The Goliath continued through hyperspace. Inside its metal body, 3,000 humans prepared for the meeting that would change galactic history. None of them knew exactly what would happen, but all of them knew one thing: humanity would never kneel. The Galactic Council Station was old. It had floated in space for over 10,000 years. Many species had helped build it. It was a place of peace, they said. A place where all species could meet and talk without fear. The station orbited a dying red star. The star gave off weak, orange light that made everything look like sunset. Ambassador of the Dominion stood in the observation room. He was tall for his species, with dark green shell covering his body. His black eyes watched the stars. He was waiting for the humans. "They are late," said his assistant, a smaller named. "No," replied. "They are exactly on time. Humans are strange that way, very precise." Had studied humans for many years. When their signals were first detected, the council thought they were nothing special. Just another young species learning to use radio waves, but had watched them more closely. He saw their wars. He saw their technology grow faster than any species in council records. He saw them build weapons that could destroy cities in seconds. Ambassador said, Our sensors are detecting something. Walk to the display screen. A dot appeared at the edge of the sensor range. It was moving fast. The human ship said, finally. But something was wrong. The dot was too big, much too big. Run the sensors again, ordered. Pressed buttons, the screen updated. The dot was still there, still too big. Ambassador, the readings say the ship is 12 kilometers long. His mandibles clicked together. That was impossible. No species built ships that large. The biggest warship was only 3 kilometers. The Council's largest transport was 5 kilometers, and it could not fight at all. There must be an error, said, but his voice was not confident. The human ship came closer. The station's external cameras turned toward it. On the main screen, they could finally see it clearly. Felt something he had not felt in a very long time: fear. The ship was massive. It was shaped like a blade, dark gray against the black of space. Its surface was covered with weapons. So many weapons. Missile tubes, energy cannons, things that did not even recognize. The ship moved slowly, like a predator that knew it had no enemies. By the ancestors, whispered, "What is that?" Could not answer, he just stared. All across the station, alarms began to sound. Species that had lived in peace for centuries suddenly felt afraid. They looked at the human ship and saw death. On the bridge of the Goliath, Admiral watched the station grow larger on his screen. It was an impressive structure. Rings and towers connected by bridges of light. Thousands of smaller ships floated around it like fish around a whale. "They have locked weapons on us," Captain reported. Her voice was calm. "I count 312 targeting systems." "That is a lot," Lieutenant said. "Not enough," replied. Commander Sora looked at her own screen. "They are sending us messages. Many, many messages. Some are in their official language, some are in ours. They want us to power down our weapons." And asked, "I think they are scared, Admiral." Nodded slowly. "Good. Scared people are careful people. Send them a response. Tell them we will not power down our weapons. Tell them it is standard procedure for human ships." Sora typed the message. A moment later, more messages came flooding back. "They do not like our answer," she said. "The ambassador is demanding we explain ourselves. The station commander is threatening to deny us landing rights." "Let them threaten," said. "We did not come here to be ordered around." On the station, the council was gathering for an emergency meeting. The grand chamber was a huge dome at the center of the station. Representatives from 400 species sat in rising rows of seats. At the center was a platform where speakers could stand. High Arbiter stood on the platform now. He was the leader of the council, an ancient with silver shell and many scars. He had led the council for over 200 years. He had seen many things, but he had never seen anything like the human ship. "Order," he called out. His voice was amplified by machines filling the entire chamber. "There will be order." The chamber slowly became quiet, but could see the fear in the eyes and faces of every species there. "We have all seen the human vessel," said. "It is larger than expected, but we must not panic. Humans are a young species. This is their first contact with the wider galaxy. They are probably just trying to impress us." "Impress us?" Ambassador stepped forward. "High Arbiter, that ship has more weapons than our entire defense fleet. That is not a diplomatic vessel. That is a weapon of war." Murmurs spread through the chamber. "The humans could have come in a small ship," another representative said. "She was from a peaceful species of blue-skinned traders. They could have shown respect. Instead, they bring this monster." "We should not let them land," someone shouted from the upper rows. "We should destroy them now while we can," another voice called. Raised his arms for silence. "Enough! We invited the humans here. We cannot attack them without cause. That would make us no better than the species we claim to be superior to." Moved closer to the platform. "Then what do you suggest, High Arbiter? Do we simply let them enter our station with that ship pointing weapons at us? Thought for a long moment. He was old. He had made many difficult decisions, but this one felt different. This one felt like it would change everything. We let them come, he said finally. We talk to them, we learn what they want, and we show them that the council is not afraid. But even as he said the words, was not sure they were true. The council had controlled the galaxy for a long time. They had rules, they had order, they had power. Now, looking at the human ship, wondered if their power was as great as they had believed. The Goliath moved into position near the station. It did not dock. It simply floated there like a mountain in space. Admiral turned to his team. We will take a shuttle to the station, 20 soldiers with full equipment. Everyone else stays here. If something goes wrong, asked. Looked at her. If something goes wrong, you know what to do. Nodded, she understood. The Goliath's orders were clear. If the humans on the station were attacked, the ship would respond. The response would be devastating. The shuttle bay opened. A small craft flew out, carrying Admiral, Commander Sara, Lieutenant, Security Chief, and 20 armed soldiers. On the station, thousands of aliens watched the shuttle approach. Some were curious, some were angry, most were afraid. Stood at the landing bay entrance. He would be the first to meet the humans. He tried to make his body look tall and confident, but inside his hearts were beating fast. The shuttle landed, the door opened. Admiral stepped out first. He was not tall, he was not physically impressive, but something about him made step back. It was his eyes. They were the eyes of someone who had seen death many times, the eyes of someone who was not afraid. Ambassador said, his voice was quiet but clear, "Thank you for receiving us." His mandibles clicked nervously. "Welcome to the Galactic Council Station, Admiral. We have many questions." Looked around the landing bay. Soldiers from many species stood watching. Their weapons were ready. "I am sure you do," said, "and we have answers, but first I think the Council should know something." "What is that?" Smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "Humanity did not come here to ask for permission to exist. We came here to inform you that we do exist, and we will continue to exist, no matter what this council decides." Felt a chill run through his body. In that moment, he understood something important. The galaxy would never be the same again. The walk to the grand chamber was long. Ambassador led the way, his 6 legs clicking on the metal floor. Behind him walked the humans. Admiral was in front. Commander Sara walked at his side. Lieutenant followed with his data tablet. Security Chief stayed at the back, watching everything with careful eyes. 20 human soldiers walked in formation around them. They wore black armor and carried weapons that the aliens did not recognize. Their faces were hidden behind helmets. They moved like machines, silent and precise. Aliens of many species stopped to watch them pass. Some pressed themselves against the walls. Others whispered to each other. A few brave ones pointed and stared, but none of them came close. "Your soldiers make people nervous," said. "They should," replied. His voice was deep and flat. "That is their job." His mandibles clicked. He did not like this human. He did not like any of them. They were too confident, too unafraid. It was wrong. Young species were supposed to be humble. They were supposed to be grateful for the chance to meet the council. The humans acted like they had already won something. They reached the grand chamber doors. 2 guards stood there, large creatures with 4 arms and armored skin. They were the best warriors the council had, but even they looked small next to the human soldiers. "Only the leaders may enter with weapons," said. "Your soldiers must wait outside." Did not answer immediately. He looked at. 10 soldiers inside with us," said. "The others wait here." Shell darkened with anger. "That is not the rule. No species brings armed guards into the chamber." "Then change the rule," said simply, "or we leave now." There was a long silence. Wanted to argue. He wanted to throw these arrogant humans off the station, but he had his orders. The council wanted to talk to the humans. They wanted to understand them. Fine, said. The word came out like poison. 10 soldiers, but they stand at the back. They do not speak. They do not move. Agreed, said. The great doors opened. The grand chamber stretched before them, vast and bright. Thousands of aliens filled the seats, rising up like a living wall, colors of every kind, shapes that no human had ever seen before. Eyes, tentacles, wings, shells. The galaxy's diversity was all here. High Arbiter stood at the center platform. His silver shell reflected the lights. His many eyes watched the humans enter. The humans walked slowly. They did not hurry. They did not look nervous. Admiral kept his eyes on. Commander Sora studied the crowd. Lieutenant's tablet recorded everything, and his soldiers spread out at the back, watching for danger. Whispers filled the chamber like wind through leaves. They really came. Look at their weapons. So small and yet. The ship outside could destroy us all. Raised a limb, silence fell instantly. Admiral's voice boomed. Representative of the human species, you stand before the Galactic Council. We have governed this galaxy for 12,000 years. We maintain peace. We ensure order. We welcome young species into our family. He paused, his eyes narrowed. But you did not come as a young species seeking welcome. You came with a warship. You came with weapons. Explain yourself. Stepped forward. He was alone on the floor of the chamber, surrounded by thousands of alien beings, but his voice did not shake. High Arbiter, he began. Humanity thanks you for the invitation. We are honored to finally meet the other species of this galaxy, but I must correct something you said. Tilted his head, correct. You said the council maintains peace and order, but that is not what we have seen. The whispers returned, louder this time. Angry voices called out. How dare he insult us in our own chamber? Throw them out. Raised his limb again. Explain, human, choose your words carefully. Did not blink. We have watched this galaxy for 80 years. We listened to your communications. We studied your history. We know what the council really is. He turned slowly, looking at the crowd. We know about a proud species who refused to pay tribute to what happened to them. The council voted to quarantine their worlds. Their population dropped from 20 billion to 3 billion. Starvation, disease, poverty, all because they said no. A section of the crowd stirred. The representatives were there, thin and tired-looking. They stared at with wide eyes. We know about continued. They had rich planets, good resources. They wanted those resources. What did the council do? Nothing. They took everything. They are now servants in their own homes. More stirring, more whispers. The section was completely still, their black eyes fixed on with hatred. We know about the forced to give half their trade profits to the council treasury. We know about the forbidden from developing weapons even though pirates attack their ships every day. We know about dozens of species living under rules that benefit only the strong. High Arbiter's voice was cold. You speak of things you do not understand, human. The galaxy is complicated. Sacrifices must be made for peace. Peace? Almost laughed. This is not peace. This is control. The strong take what they want. The weak suffer. The council makes rules that sound fair but only protect those already in power. We know this system well, Arbiter. Humans invented it thousands of years ago. Commander Sora stepped forward to stand beside him. We also learned to fight against it. Our history is full of empires that thought they would rule forever. They are all gone now, destroyed by people who refused to accept slavery. The chamber was in chaos. Representatives shouted at each other. Some supported the humans. Most were angry at them. The section looked ready for violence. Slammed his limbs against the platform. Silence, silence. Slowly the noise died down. You accuse this council of crimes, said. His voice was dangerous now. "You insult species that have lived in space for. You are a young race. You have been in space for barely 200 years. What gives you the right to judge us?" Smiled, it was not a friendly smile. "We do not judge you, Arbiter. We simply see you clearly, and we came here to tell you something important." "What is that?" His voice filled the chamber. "Humanity will not join this council, not as a junior member, not as a tribute-paying servant. We will stand alone if we must. We will trade with whoever wants to trade. We will make alliances with whoever shares our values, but we will never bow. We will never kneel. And if anyone tries to force us, they will discover something that no species in this galaxy has ever faced." "And what is that?" asked. Security Chief answered from the back. His voice was like stone. "A species that has spent its entire history learning how to fight and win against impossible odds. A species that turns destruction into determination. A species that does not know how to give up." The chamber was completely silent. Lieutenant checked his tablet. Outside the station, the Goliath still floated in space. Its weapons were still ready. Its shields were still up. Commander Sara looked at the crowd. She saw fear in their eyes, but she also saw something else. In the section, in the eyes of species that had suffered under Council rule. She saw hope. Admiral turned to one last time. "Shall we continue the negotiations, High Arbiter, or do you need time to discuss what I have said?" Was silent for a long moment. His ancient mind tried to understand what was happening. In 12,000 years, no species had ever spoken to the Council like this. "We will recess," he said finally. "We will meet again tomorrow." Nodded, "We will be waiting." The humans turned and walked out of the chamber. Their soldiers fell in around them. The doors closed behind them. And in the grand chamber, 400 species began to argue about what to do with the humans who had just changed everything. The human delegation returned to their quarters on the station. It was a small section that the Council had given them, simple rooms with basic furniture. The walls were gray. The air smelled strange. Admiral sat in a chair. He looked tired. Commander Sara stood by the window looking at the stars. Lieutenant worked on his tablet, recording everything that had happened. Security Chief and his soldiers guarded the doors. "That went well," Sara said. Her voice was dry. "We made enemies today," replied. "They will not forgive what I said." "They were never going to be our friends," said from the door. "They see every species as either a servant or a threat. Now they know we are not servants." A soft knock came at the door. Soldiers raised their weapons. Himself opened the door slowly. A thin figure stood in the hallway. He was with pale blue skin and large, sad eyes. He wore simple gray clothes. His body looked weak and tired. "Please," they said. His voice was barely a whisper. "I must speak with your admiral. My name is, I am a counselor of the remnant." Looked at, the admiral nodded. "Let him in." Entered the room. He moved slowly, like walking was difficult. Sara offered him a chair, but he shook his head. "I cannot stay long," said. "They are watching. If they see me here, my people will suffer more." "Then speak quickly," said. His voice was gentle but firm. His eyes became wet. "What you said in the chamber, it was all true, everything. The Council destroyed my people, not with weapons but with laws and rules and sanctions. We are dying slowly. Every year there are fewer of us. Every year we lose more." He took a shaky breath. "But today I heard something I never thought I would hear. Someone spoke the truth. Someone said the things that we have been forbidden to say for 200 years. "I am sorry for what happened to your people," said. Shook his head. "Do not be sorry. Be what you say you are. Be the species that does not kneel." He stepped closer too. "Your ship, the one outside, is it really as powerful as it looks?" Nodded slowly. "Yes, it is." Can it fight can it truly challenge them?" "If necessary, yes." His body trembled, not from fear but from something else. Hope, a hope that had been dead for centuries. "Then others will rise," he whispered. "If humanity stands, others will stand with you. Species who have been silent, species who have been afraid, they will find courage." Before could respond, alarms began to sound throughout the station. Red lights flashed. Voices called out in many languages. Lieutenant jumped to his feet. His tablet lit up with warnings. "Admiral, 3 ships have entered the system. Large vessels, they are. Battle cruisers." Stood quickly. "Contact the Goliath now." Pressed buttons. "Connection established. Captain is on." His voice came through the speakers. "Admiral, we see them. 3 battle cruisers just came out of hyperspace. They are moving toward us." "Their weapons?" asked. "Charging. They are preparing to fire." The room was tense. Backed against the wall, his eyes wide with terror. "They cannot attack," he said. "Not here, not at the council station. It would be a show of force," Sara said. "They want to scare us. They want to prove that they are stronger." Made his decision quickly. "Captain, weapons free, targeting systems only. Show them what we see." There was a pause, then his voice returned. "Understood, Admiral. Weapons free, targeting systems engaged." On the Goliath, Captain sat in the command chair. Her fingers moved across the controls. Around her, the crew worked in perfect coordination. "Full sensor sweep," she ordered. "I want every detail of those ships, every weakness, every flaw." The Goliath's computers were the most advanced humanity had ever built. They scanned the 3 battle cruisers in seconds. They found everything. "Transmission ready," Lieutenant reported. He was a young officer in charge of communications. "Send," it said. "Broadcast to the entire station. Let everyone see." The data went out in a wave. Every screen on the council station lit up with the same information. In the Grand Chamber, High Arbiter watched in horror. On the screens, the 3 battle cruisers were displayed in perfect detail. But it was not just pictures. It was analysis. The human ship had scanned everything. Shield frequency, 447.3. Weakness at junction points. Reactor location. Center of ship, Section 14B, minimal armor protection. Weapon systems, energy cannons Class 7. Effective range, 200 kilometers. Hull composition, composite alloy, vulnerable to kinetic impact. The screen showed exactly where to hit each ship to destroy it. It showed how long their shields would last. It showed the precise angle for missiles to bypass their defenses. In less than 10 seconds, the human ship had figured out how to kill all 3 battle cruisers. Ambassador stared at the screen. His mandibles hung open. He could not speak. In the section, commanders scrambled to respond. They sent orders to their ships. They demanded answers. But the answers were clear. The human ship had already won. It had won before a single shot was fired. On the battle cruisers, captains looked at their own screens. They saw what the humans had broadcast. They understood what it meant. Their ships were death traps. If they attacked, they would be destroyed. All 3 of them in minutes, maybe seconds. One captain spoke into his communicator. His voice shook. "We are withdrawing, returning to space." The 3 battle cruisers turned. Their engines lit up. They fled into hyperspace, disappearing as quickly as they had arrived. Silence fell over the council station. In the human quarters, fell to his knees. Tears ran down his blue face. "You did it," he whispered. "You actually did it. You made the run." Commander Sora helped him stand. It was not a fight. It was just a demonstration. "A demonstration," repeated. He laughed, a broken sound. "In 200 years, no one has ever made the retreat. No one. And you did it without firing a single shot." Admiral walked to the window. He looked out at the stars. The Goliath was still there, still floating peacefully. Its weapons were still ready. "Captain," he said into his communicator. "Good work. Stand down to normal alert." Yes, Admiral replied. For what it is worth, that was satisfying. Almost smiled. Yes, it was. He turned to face the others. The council will want to talk again tomorrow. They will be more careful now, more respectful, but this is not over. They will not forgive this embarrassment. They will want revenge. Let them try, said. Lieutenant looked at his tablet. Admiral, we are receiving messages from multiple species. The others I do not recognize. They all want to talk to us privately. Nodded. Tell them we will meet with anyone who wants to meet, but not in secret. We have nothing to hide. Stood straight. For the first time since he arrived, he looked like something other than a broken man. I must return to my people, he said. I must tell them what I saw today. I must tell them there is hope. Go, said, and tell them this. Humanity does not want war. We do not want to conquer anyone, but we will protect those who cannot protect themselves. If they need friends, they have found them. Bowed his head. It was a gesture of deep respect. Thank you, Admiral. My people will remember this day forever. He left quietly. The door closed behind him. Sora looked at. We came here to negotiate for humanity. Now we are collecting allies. Sat back in his chair. He was tired, but there was fire in his eyes. We came here to show the galaxy who we are. I think we have done that. Outside the window, the red star burned slowly. The council station floated in its light, and somewhere in the galaxy, they were planning their next move. The game was just beginning. 7 days had passed since the battle cruisers fled. 7 days of meetings, arguments, and negotiations. The council had never worked so hard or so fast. They had never faced a situation like this before. Admiral stood in the Grand Chamber for the last time. Commander Sora was at his side. Lieutenant held the documents. Security Chief watched from behind, his soldiers standing ready as always. High Arbiter stood on his platform. He looked older than before. The past week had not been easy for him. His entire view of the galaxy had been shaken. Let us review the agreement one final time, said. His voice was tired but official. He read from a screen. First, the human species will not join the Galactic Council as a member. Humanity will be recognized as a sovereign power, independent and equal to the Council itself. Murmurs filled the chamber. This had never happened before. No species had ever stood outside the Council as an equal. Second, trade agreements will be established between humanity and any Council species that wishes to participate. Trade will be fair and based on mutual benefit. No tribute will be required. More murmurs. The section was quiet and angry. They had argued against this for days, but they had lost. Third, borders will be defined and respected. Human space will be clearly marked. Council ships may not enter without permission. Human ships may travel freely in neutral space. Paused. The next part was the most important. Fourth, any species currently under Council protection may request to begin diplomatic relations with humanity. This includes, he hesitated, this includes requesting human protection. The chamber exploded with noise. Representatives shouted at each other. Some were angry, some were celebrating. The section was crying with joy. The section was shaking with rage. Order called. There will be order. Slowly the noise died down. This agreement was not easy to reach, said. Many on this council do not agree with it, but the vote was clear. The majority decided that peace with humanity is better than war. He looked directly at Admiral, do you accept these terms? Stepped forward. His voice was clear and strong. Humanity accepts these terms. We did not come here seeking conflict. We came seeking respect. We came seeking fairness. This agreement gives us both. He turned to face the entire chamber. I want to say something to all of you. Humanity is not your enemy. We are not here to conquer. We are not here to destroy. We remember our own history. We remember what it feels like to be weak, to be conquered, to be enslaved. He paused. That is why we built the Goliath. That is why we came here armed and ready. Not because we want to fight, but because we refuse to let anyone take our freedom. We refuse to let anyone make us kneel. The chamber was silent. But we also remember something else from our history. We remember that the strong have a choice. They can use their strength to hurt others, or they can use it to protect others. Humanity chooses protection. He looked at the section. To and all the species who have suffered under unfair rules, I say this. You are not alone anymore. Humanity will stand with those who want to stand free. Counselor rose from his seat. Tears ran down his blue face, but he was smiling. The accept, he called out. We request formal diplomatic relations with humanity. More voices called out. The others. One by one, species that had been silent for centuries found their courage. Watched it all happen. He was not happy, but he was not entirely sad either. He was old enough to know that change was sometimes necessary, even if it was painful. The agreement is accepted, he said finally. Let it be recorded. Today marks a new chapter in galactic history. He looked at one last time. I hope you understand what you have started, Admiral. The balance of power in this galaxy has shifted. Things will never be the same. Nodded, that is exactly what we intended, High Arbiter. The ceremony was over. The humans left the chamber surrounded by their soldiers. But this time the mood was different. Species that had avoided them before now approached. They offered gifts. They offered thanks. They asked questions about Earth, about humanity, about the future. Commander Sora walked beside through the crowd. We came here with one ship, she said quietly. We are leaving with a dozen allies, maybe more. Smiled, we came here to make a statement. The statement was made. They returned to their quarters to pack their things. There was not much to pack. They had brought very little. Lieutenant entered with his tablet. Admiral, the messages are still coming. Every hour more species contact us. They want to trade. They want protection. Some of them want to visit Earth. Start a list, said. When we get home, we will need to organize all of this. Humanity is about to become very busy. Entered next. The soldiers are ready. The shuttle is waiting. Good. Took one last look at the small gray room. I will not miss this place. They walked to the shuttle bay, the same path they had walked 7 days ago, but everything had changed. Aliens bowed their heads as they passed. Some reached out to touch them as if they were heroes from a legend. The shuttle was waiting. 20 soldiers filed in first. Then Sora, then stopped at the door and turned back. Ambassador stood at the edge of the crowd. His black eyes were unreadable. Walked over to him. Ambassador, I know we did not become friends this week, but I want you to know something. His mandibles clicked. What is that, human? They are strong, we respect that, but strength is not everything. The galaxy is changing. You can change with it or you can be left behind. Was silent for a long moment. My people do not change easily, he said finally. We are what we are. Then I hope you survive what is coming, said. Because the old ways are dying. The species you conquered and controlled are waking up, and we will be there to help them. He turned and walked to the shuttle. The door closed behind him. Watched the small craft fly away, back toward the massive human warship. Survival, he whispered to himself. Yes, that is what it will come down to. On the Goliath, Captain waited on the bridge. Admiral on deck, she called out as entered. He waved his hand. As you were, is everything ready? Yes, sir. Course is set for Earth. We can leave whenever you give the order. Walked to the main window. The council station was visible, small and fragile against the dying red star. Take us home, Captain. The Goliath's engines came to life. The great ship turned slowly, pointing toward distant Earth. Commander Sora joined at the window. "We made history today," she said. "No," replied. "We started making history. The real work begins now." "What kind of work?" "Building, organizing, preparing. They will not accept what happened here. They will try to undo it. They will try to destroy us. We need to be ready." Lieutenant appeared with his tablet. "Admiral, the requests keep coming. I count 47 species who want formal relations. 12 of them are asking about military alliances." "Military alliances," Sarah repeated. "We came here alone. We might be going home with the beginning of a coalition." Nodded. The galaxy was waiting for someone to stand up. We did. Now we have to live up to what we promised. His voice came over the speaker. "Hyperspace jump in 30 seconds. Watch the stars." "Humanity's first alien meeting," he said quietly. "I think it went well." Sarah laughed. It was a real laugh full of relief and joy. "You terrified an entire galactic government, made enemies of the most powerful species in the galaxy, and started what might become the biggest political change in 10,000 years. And you think it went well?" Smiled, a real smile this time. "Yes, I think it went very well." The Goliath jumped into hyperspace. Blue and white lights surrounded the ship as it traveled faster than light, carrying 3,000 humans back to Earth. They had come to the galaxy as strangers. They were leaving as something else entirely. And somewhere in the stars, other species looked up and saw hope for the first time in centuries. Hope that the universe could be different. Hope that freedom was possible. All because one ship, one crew, and one species had refused to kneel. The story of humanity in the galaxy had just begun.